This is going to be the ultimate guide for killing bosses inside of Dig. This video might be a little bit longer than usual because we're going to be going over the best shovels, every single best charm such as endurance, strength, and even boss damage. Then we're going to be going over the totems, and lastly the best enchants. So there's going to be timestamps on the video, so if you guys want to skip through just a certain bit, then feel free to. But we're going to start off with the shovel. So the worst shovel is going to be the rock shovel, which is going to have 25 damage, which can be found right over here in the beginning area. So we're only going to be going over with the damage. We're not going to be going over with any of the statistics, only the damage bit. We have the abyssal shovel, which can be found by killing the king crab. So over here, 35 damage. Next, we got the candlelight shovel, which can also be found by killing the other boss, which is going to be the candlelight phantom. And then this one's going to have 45 damage. For these next ones, I don't have them, but I'm going to pop images up on the screen. So the next one's going to be the frigid shovel, which is pretty much just going to be granting you 50 attack damage, with the next one being the prismatic shovel, also giving you 60 damage. Next is going to be the venomous shovel, 75. And now these are the last top 3 best ones in the game. So this is going to be the slayer shovel at 80 damage, the monstrous one at 85, and then lastly the glinted shovel at 86. And remember, I'm only going off by the damage. I'm not actually going to be sorting it out by any other thing, because when you're fighting bosses, nothing really else matters except for damage and haste. But for this sake, we're just going to go over damage. So for these next 3, I'm going to be doing totems and cupcakes together, and then enchantments alone. So for the totems, we're going to start off with is going to be the monarch totem, which is going to give you plus 25% boss damage. Next, we got 2 cupcakes, which is going to be blueberry cupcake, and that's going to give you plus 10 boss damage for 4 minutes. So you can just stack this over and over again. You can get like 8 minutes and 12, I'm pretty sure. Then you got the jar of peanut butter, which provides unique attributes to grant additional effects. You can go ahead and get some pretty good effects when fighting the bosses. So then we got the enchantments, which is going to be strong, and that's going to give you a plus 10% strength. And then next we got sundering, which is going to be 20% boss damage. And now lastly, we're going to go over every single charm in the game that's going to be very good. So this is going to be a very long list, so just make sure to sit back and take notes on which one to take. Anyways, we're going to start off with endurance. So how this is going to work, I'm just going to read them out, put the images on the screen, and at the end I'm going to give you my final thoughts on which ones you should go for and which ones I think are personally the best one. Number 1, we got the banjo endurance, which is going to give you anywhere from plus 5% to 17% in between there when you go ahead and purchase that item. Next, we got the blue shroom cap, and this is going to give you anywhere from 4% to another 17%. Next, we have the regen coil endurance one. So this is going to give you anywhere from 2% to 13%, which is actually pretty good. Next, we got the rock pounder endurance, and this is going to give you from 4% anywhere from 12%. So as you guys can see, they all have similar type of percentages. So this one's going to be super regen coil, and this is going to give you 7% to 10%. So this is a lot better than the other ones because you're guaranteed plus 7 for a start, all the way up to 10%. And this is the one with the first ability. This one's going to gradually heal you mid-fight as well, which is going to be very, very good. I say honestly one of the best ones so far. Then we got the tendency brace endurance. So this is going to be from 1 to 12%. But this also does have an ability where it returns you to 50% endurance when you're about to lose an item. So I think this means when you're mid-fight and you're about to click off, I think it returns you back to 50%. And then lastly, for the endurance, we have the war shield endurance. It's going to give you from 1% to 12%. And this also does have a unique ability where it's going to parry 50% of your attack. In my opinion, the best endurance one over here is probably going to be the super regen coil, just because it does have a guarantee from 7% to 10%. And it also does gradually heal you compared to the other ones. So I think this is the one that you guys should go for. However, it's completely up to you which one you guys want to choose. So for these next charms, it's all going to be strength. Now, again, it's not in initial order. It's just going to be written out because writing these all out in order is low-key going to be kind of long. So the first one's going to be imporns. Now, this is going to give you anywhere from 5% to 10%. And you also lose endurance faster, but you'll get stronger and you'll hit harder gradually throughout the fight, which I think is a very good trade, especially if you got the endurance one already on. Next, we got the blazing gauntlet. So this is going to give you anywhere from 1% to 10%, no additional abilities with that. Then we got the cauldron hat, and this is going to give you 20% more effective like strength buff. Then we got the energy apparatus. So this is going to give you anywhere from 1% to 11%, and that's pretty much it for strength. So what I think the best one over here is probably going to be the imporns. So for the last 2, we do have boss damage charms, and then we have other abilities which wasn't already said. This one is going to be the ninja headband, and this is going to give you 4% to 7% boss damage, and then it's also going to grant a stack of focus which boosts boss damage by a lot. This is also going to be a pretty decent one. So we only have 2 for this section. Then we have the radioactive horns, which is then going to give you a 12% to a 20% extra increase in boss damage. And then plasma and petrified items do become radioactive. Between these 2, you guys can choose which one you want to equip onto your team. And then lastly, we have the ability charms over here. So the super regen coil, which heals you and nearby players over time. So if you want to be like a team player, this is gonna be a very good choice to get. Then we got the regular regen coil, which occasionally heals you, but without any other players. So if you're gonna go for a regen coil, definitely go for the super one. Next, we got the fruit hat, which actually heals your endurance over time. So if you want to use the important, I would highly suggest putting the fruit hat on as well, because it's gonna heal your endurance while losing it, but you do have a strength increase. Then we have the dynamic sash. So this is gonna be a small chance to deal 2 times strength on a hit. Now this is gonna be very overpowered, I'm not gonna lie. So that is it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and sub. We're about to reach 14k sub. Our long-term goal is 20k, so if you guys could help me out, be highly appreciated. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.